Hi everyone, this is Leila and I just got off the interview at 34 questions. It would mean a lot to me if you guys check that out because I really had a very fun time. I hope to see you there.
What's going on, folks? Welcome to 34 Questions. Today I have a very special guest. My cousin Leila from the Philippines is on the show today. How you doing, Leila?
Well, I'm doing great.
Thank you for coming on, and thank you for your time. For the folks there who don't know, we don't really get to talk like this too often, so it's a really great opportunity for me to get to know her better, and for you guys to get to know her better as well. For those who are unfamiliar with the format of the show, we do some intro questions just to set the tone, to warm up, and then we jump into the main portion of the podcast where Leila gets to choose a number between 1 and 34, and we get the conversation rolling that way. Sound good to you, Leila?
Yes.
All right. Well, my very first question for you is, how have you been? You've been doing well. You've been going through it. How you been?
Well, I'm doing well, but I'm also stressed and tired at the same time. I'm currently third year. I'm taking up Bachelor of Science in Medical Laboratory Science here in the Philippines. And less than a month, I'll be an intern. So with the coronavirus pandemic, and I'm going to be an intern in the hospital. We're really doing a lot of stuff, complying a lot of requirements. I can only imagine the things that I have to do, but this is what I want to do. So I'm kind of okay with it and surviving.
Yeah, are you excited or a little nervous that you're going to be jumping into it during like this crazy time, especially in the Philippines?
I'm excited. So. I'm excited at the same time nervous because we need to start by June 1 and currently it's April 30. And our school told us that we're going to have the vaccine, but they still don't know yet. They still don't know when they're going to give us the vaccine. So what are we going to do? We're going to start without the vaccine, and eventually maybe by August or September we'll be able to have the vaccine. So I'm really going to be taking care of myself. I have a lot of lectures with my mom. How will I be able to take care of myself? And I'm sure she just wants for me to be safe, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I hear a lot about how crazy it is in the Philippines right now, and I gotta ask you, why do you think it's been so hard to have, like, you know, the standard kind of like be set to get everything done?
Well, at first I can see I'm already 21 years old, so I've been very aware of what's happening within the society, especially here in the Philippines. Um, there are a lot of things that is not the system is not that good. There are a lot of VIPs who gets to be treated first. I mean, when I start my internship, we're technically called frontliners, but up until now, we still don't have the priority because there are a lot of VIPs coming around. And a little reflection is that I wanted to be someone who contributes into the betterment of society in that way. I believe I'm still young, but I'm still looking where I will be able to place my foot in society and be able to make a change, hopefully someday. And these kinds of issues, these kinds of small system, the little things really kind of annoys me because I believe I'm already privileged enough, but what are other people who are not that privilege? I can only imagine the type of suffering that they are receiving or that they are experiencing.
For sure. And you are studying to be a doctor, is that right?
Hopefully, to be very honest, Jama, I really wanted to become a doctor when I was like 18, 19, and when I was a freshman, I really wanted to become a doctor. But right now, in the pandemic, I'm having a lot of second thoughts. I really want to be someone who does more than be a doctor. Ever since I was young, I was never really the kind of student or the kind of kid that excels on one thing. I was doing triathlon, badminton, swimming, but I never really excelled on those things. I just know how to do a lot of things. And when I was growing up, when I knew that I wanted to become a doctor, and then now that I'm 21, I can't be a doctor all my life and say, that's why right now I still want to become a doctor, but I am still looking for other opportunities. Not just a doctor. I want to be, maybe I could be a model because my mom always tells me that I'm arte. Marte, Marte in Philippines. Yeah, I'm arte, and I really want to take pictures of myself, and I might just be like that one day. So I don't know, but I still want to become a doctor, but also other things.
No doubt, no doubt. And yeah, don't limit yourself. There's no real pressure. I feel like, we only put that pressure upon ourselves because of, like, I don't know, sometimes it could be outside forces that kind of pressure us to become something that maybe we're not comfortable with. But yeah, and you're still young. There's no rush, and I'm sure you will figure it out. It just comes along, with growing up. This thing that I'm doing, I didn't discover this or figure it out until like this year. So I don't think it's gonna take that long for everybody, but just don't feel like you need to be in one lane. Like you said, there's a lot of different opportunities out there. Keep trying different things, and if anything, it's a learning experience, to find out what really is for you. So for sure. All right, well, moving on to the icebreaker portion of the of the podcast. It's the one word spelling bee. Are you down to do it, or you rather pass?
I'll do it.
Okay. So my dad, Tito does. He likes to, what's it called? He told me that some of my questions or some of my words were a little too easy. Since you're, and he told me to use medical terms, because
let's try, okay?
yeah, we'll try. All right. Your word is malignant.
Malignant. I have never really encountered this but I know that the counterpart of malignant is benign. And benign well, technically in the practice, when you're really doing it, when there are no patients on a certain shift or duty, they call that benign. So I think if malignant, it's fatal, while benign, it's not that really fatal.
Yeah. Are you down to try to give it a shot to spell it?
Okay. Malignant means MALIGNANT.
Oh, you got it. I thought you were saying like you didn't, know how to spell, but congrats.
I thought I was about to explain it as well. So.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Hey, but you passed that test too, so congrats. And you are now officially qualified for the Spelling Bee episode of 34 questions down the line. It's going to be a tough one to pull off because I have a lot of guests, and I'm trying to get everybody on like the chat at the same time. So we'll see if that happens. It'll be a hard task, but congrats and thank you for participating.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so moving on to some more warm-up questions. This next question is, what would you like the audience to know about you?
Well, I would like to know for the audience that if ever I really want to be someone when I grow up, I really want to make an impact to other people. But if ever that will happen, I don't want to be remembered as someone who was very good, who was very great, who excels in a lot of things. That's not who I am. I'm not that person who always tops the class. I'm very much proud to say that I am average. And that is the path that I want to see. I want to show the audience that being average is not really that hard. I mean, it's kind of hard, but it also has a lot of advantages because it humbles you as a person. You learn to be with other people and to hear their stories and to respect them. I'm not saying that the ones who are really good doesn't really respect the ones who are not that good, but there is some kind of hierarchy that you feel when you're not that good. And somehow when you're kind of average, you learn how to become understanding, and you kind of tend to be more with the people. And because that, like I said earlier, that I'm not really that good at a lot of things, but hence I know to do a lot of things. I tend to incorporate that in making new friends and new experiences, new challenges. I want to become someone who is hardworking, not because I was given the skills right ahead at the first time. That I want to be someone who is consistent and someone who doesn't give up. Well, there are times that, especially now in college, I really wanted to give up because of the people and the pressure. But I think it's part of what I wanted to become or what I wanted to achieve in life. So I'm holding on, but that's how I want to be remembered.
That's how I know we're related, Leila, because I think I feel exactly the same way. Yeah, I mean, first off, I don't think everybody's average, and I think that's just the optimistic side of me. But there is, I don't know if you've heard about the 9 types of geniuses. Like, everyone is a genius at something. It's just on us to kind of find out what it is and how to like embrace our intelligence in that way. I'll send you that link, so maybe you could find out which one you are in that case. But yeah, I mean, school or like a certain path isn't for everybody, and you know, in the States, I was good at school growing up, and when I got to college and everything, I really struggled. You know, there's a saying out here that like, you know, every like the number one student in every high school when they get to college is just another student. You know, and like it starts from zero. There's no ranking or anything like that. So that's how I felt basically, because I was a good student before college, and then when I got into college, I was not that same student anymore. And yeah, so sometimes I feel average, you know. I mean, right now I think I'm average as well, but like you said, you're there with like the people, right? Like you don't feel like you're separated from the general public, or like there's no like judgments that are happening as far as like, oh, this guy's, you know, why is this guy around, or why am I down here with like everybody else? I'd rather be with the people, you know. I think it's a way, like the more connections you have with individuals, like that's for me at least the best way to live, and hence this project. But I think that goes to go with like my type of intelligence, which I'm not sure what it is yet. I have an idea, but you know, it's all about fostering that what I'm good at. I'm trying to find the words, but it's early over here. But yeah. So yeah, that's your answer was definitely something that I could relate to. My second question is, if someone were to pay you a tribute, how would you like to be honored? So if I could do something as like, I'm gonna honor Leila today, what could I do? What kind of act could I do in your honor?
Well, it's very easy. For me, if someone really wants to pay tribute to me, it's that to give it to the ones who are less fortunate enough. When I was 18, I really didn't want a grand debut. Well, my parents gave me a present, but I spent it with some children. Most of them are special children, and maybe because I really have a soft spot for them, because my ate Bea was trisomy 18. So on her 18 chromosomes, she has three chromosomes, and then she was a special child. And maybe because I really didn't have an ate, a bigger sister figure, and I'm kind of like patching things around when I was growing up. There's no one to guide me. There's no one to tell me anything. That's why that's why I've been like looking for people, or especially the ones who are less fortunate. So if there's someone who's going to pay tribute to me, I really want people to like donate to certain charities or to environmental projects, something that would make society better. That's really what I want. And I remember one time, like because of the pandemic, I have like 2 close friends. His name is Bimbi and Shaira. We really want to give our professors, some of our professors are frontliners. So I really want to give them something because of their hard work. And I was telling them that okay, I'll shoulder this. I think I gave the ensaimadas. Yeah, I'll shoulder the ensaimadas for now. And then they told me that they're gonna pay me back because it's from me, Bimbi and Shaira. And they told me they're gonna pay me back, but I just said that it's okay. Just give it back to other people, and then just send me the proof. So that's what I did. They just donated it to other people. So yeah, I was really happy and very fulfilling with that, with those kinds of hacks.
I gotcha. That's crazy, because usually on your birthday people are giving you stuff, but on your birthday you decided that you're gonna give back instead. That's special for sure. And I got you. I'll definitely find a way to give back in your honor. And my third question for you is, on a scale from 1 to 10, how well do you know yourself?
I would say a good solid 5.
Good solid 5.
I'm really a changing person. Like I said earlier, that I do a lot of things and I still want to learn a lot of things. Lately, now in the pandemic, I've been very much interested in doing business, stock investments, which is something that I'm not. 5-10 years or 3 or 5 years ago, when I was like 18, I remember when I was in high school, junior high, we have this like business elective, and then I really didn't want business. I didn't want to answer the quizzes back then. But right now, I'm very much interested. I really want to learn a lot of things. That's why I can say that I still don't know who I am as a person. All I know is that brought it to level 5 is that I really want to make an impact. If I leave dessert or whenever I have the opportunity, I want to give back. That's really something within me. And I want to pursue medicine. It's just kind of itchy right now, but I still want to pursue medicine. So yeah.
For sure. A 5. I got you. See, I'm going to learn a lot from you about the Philippines right now. That's one of the things that, as I get older, I feel really out of touch with my culture. So I'm glad that I could talk to you guys, and you guys could drop some knowledge on me, because I don't want to feel like I'm not close to my roots, and right now I'm not, and I'm trying to just get back a little more. And so you said the stock market. There's a stock market in the Philippines?
Yes, there's stock market in the Philippines. Actually, my dad taught me this when I was 18. He was kind of starting. He's not like an avid investor, but he told me that time that my biggest asset is time. And because I was young, I was 18. I was filling out all the forms, government IDs. I didn't even know what to do. And then when I was 19, I was second year college. It was very busy before the pandemic, so I just didn't know how to operate in the stock market. And when the pandemic hit, I was always at home. Fun fact, I was living alone since 2016. Yeah, since I was 16 years old that time. I was senior high. I went to DASMA, and then that's the longest time that I never lived at home. I just go home maybe like thrice a month, every weekend, and then every Christmas. But when the pandemic hit, I was at home, and it was a very big adjustment. So I tried to learn a lot of things. I tried to do business, delivering certain foods. I was reselling foods, and then I was really very interested with the stock market. There's stock market in the Philippines, and my broker is called Financial.
I gotcha. What's your stock advice out there right now? What's something people should invest in?
I think the market is down. So if I really place my money right now because the market is down. So I'm hoping when things go down, things will go up so that I can take profit. But one of the biggest things that I've learned like for the past few months is that if you can already take profit, you already take profit. Because I remember this one stock that I don't think I will ever forget. I was able to place a little amount because I was doing research about it, but I wasn't quite sure because I was still learning. And then the prices went really high, like really, really high. And then suddenly it launched its opening, and then the prices went low. So instead of me getting like a 200% gain, I just got like a 20% gain. So yeah, it was kind of like a hefty decision, but at least I know what to do next time.
Yeah, stocks drive me crazy sometimes, and especially if I like check it every day. I don't think it's good for my mental health. I respect people who can check it and not feel, don't get emotional about it. But for me, I don't know if you're familiar with the cryptocurrency, which I'll ask you right after this. But yeah, so Dogecoin.
Yes, I know Dogecoin.
So I last week I think it went from like, I don't know, was it 18 to like 40, right? Like 18 cents to 40 cents, right? I had so many shares at 18 cents, and that day I was like, I'm gonna take it all out and transfer it to like this different account. And as I did that, that's when it went up to 40, and it hurt me so bad. And I was like, because it was really, it didn't make me feel good at all. And then like the next day, everybody is like, oh, did you make your money? Did you come up? And I felt so embarrassed to be like, and on just that particular day, that's when it happened, like it could have happened at any time, and just that day, that's when it happened. So and then of course I bought it when it was high, because I was like, oh, it's gonna keep going up. And then it went back down, so I'm like, oh my god. But I do believe in it, so I'm gonna leave my money in there and see how it goes. But yeah, cryptocurrency, what do you think about it? You think it's gonna happen, and you think the Philippines is gonna get on board to like, accept that as a form of payment? Or yeah, how do you feel about it?
Well, I'm hoping, but because I still don't know a lot of things about cryptocurrency, simply because I lack the time to be able to study it correctly. I study it on my free time. So, for example, I'm eating lunch, I watch videos, but I can't really grasp it and be able to like fully risk like 5,000 pesos, for example, because I believe that when you're investing, you should be really, really knowledgeable about the things that you're investing in. But there are already a lot of platforms here in the Philippines that caters to buying cryptocurrency. We have Binance, Crypto.com, Pidax. Yeah, these are the websites that I know, because I'm kind of looking how to invest. Maybe next year, if ever, I'll be able to make ipon to gather my money, and because I think one of the things that I'm looking when I'm investing, especially with the stock market and crypto eventually, is that when I shell out my money, it's not my money anymore. So I was thinking that that's already a liability or money spent. So I don't really stress not much about it.
I gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it's an investment. It's a gamble, you have to be comfortable with losing that money, which one of my, I guess my misconceptions and why I started so late to get into the market. I don't know why I didn't do the research. I was too lazy and no one told me, but I was always afraid that if, let's say I put in $100, right, and then that stock just crashes, that I felt like I owed money back, and that's what kind of like, kept me from investing. But then I found out later on, it's not that you owe any money, it's just that you lost your money, so yeah, that's one of those things I had to learn differently. And then you said you gave yourself a 5, right? So what's your
yes, 5.
what's the your favorite part of your personality? Like
I guess is that I'm very relatable to a lot of people. A lot of people told me that I'm good at communicating, but I can never really see it up until I do reports now in college. Most of the time, people will always tag me like for group reports. Like we always do this like small group discussions, and then one member is just going to report. I'm not the smartest in the group, but they always want me to be the one to report. So I think one of the greatest things that I want in my personality, and that I want to develop, are my communication skills. Especially if I want to make an impact, I wanted to be able to speak good, and to be able to command other people in a respectful way. So yeah, I think that's it.
I gotcha. Yeah, I mean, the gifts that we have is sometimes, like you said, it's hard for us to see them, because I think at least personally for me, it's hard to see them because it's always those comparisons, you kind of see another person and you're like, oh, I'm not not that way, and so I must not have that gift. But then you ask other people, that's the best way to kind of find out, you know, what your gifts are, because they see it in a whole different way. But communication, that's pretty cool. That's a cool gift to have, you know. Not everybody can speak and get their point across, or speak for others, right? Because sometimes people they need that representation, or somebody to kind of like carry their thoughts and put them out into words. So I'm excited what you do with that. That sounds dope.
I remember my mom when I was like grade 10. I have this advisor. She was a very good advisor. She's a woman, and then she's a graduate of UP physics. So I'm not really that good at physics, but I really like her. I idolize her as a person. And then she told my mom, because it's uso that parents ask how their students are at school when I was in junior high. So my mom asked, "How is Leila?" And then my advisor told me that, "Oh, she's good at communicating. Is she going to pursue communication in the future?" And then my mom said, "Oh, she wants to study medicine." And then my advisor, "Huh?" but yeah, she told me that I was a good communicator, but it really didn't felt it like that time. I think I was 15 or 16, and I was in the pilot section that time. So there are really a lot of good students. So I was very happy. Right now that I remember those things, that they already see that to me at a very young age, and on a very competitive section.
Yeah. And you know, that's funny that your teacher, you know, saw that and was like, "Wait, what?" Here in the States, we call those kind of meetings our teacher parent conferences. So like, you know, I think maybe one semester the parent and the teacher talk. And I remember for me, like, I'm finding we have a lot of stuff in common, but so like my teacher, like, I was always afraid. I don't know if you were scared or nervous, but out here, like, we get really nervous about when parents and teachers talk, because you don't know what's going to be said. You don't know, it's good report, bad report, who knows. But one of the things my teacher, this sticks out to me, would tell my parents is that I was always talkative, you know, like I would like be the person who would kind of like, you know, during class I would be talking to somebody or whatever, and I never thought it was anything, right? But look at me now, talking to people on a podcast. So yeah, I wish there's a way to communicate that with kids, that like, and if kids can understand that, like, this is what your gift is, or this is what you're leaning towards. Because I think, like, you know, your dad said you have time. That's a big gift for you. But if we can get kids to kind of realize that as they're younger, then that's the when I think they get pushed into like their career or their purpose a little bit faster. It's like, oh shoot, they can realize it. But as a kid, I feel like you're more worried about other things than when your life, where your life is going. So it's that challenge and balance. So yeah, let's jump into the main portion of the podcast where you start choosing numbers between 1 and 34. This one's going to be a little bit different. I'm still trying to find like the format and flow of the show. But there's 3 levels now, A, B, and C. A being the hardest, that I think people have a hard time answering the question. B is medium, C is easy. So you could just go like C5 or B10, whichever, you know, number you'd want to go for. So throw me your first number.
Do I have to like spell the level with it?
Yeah. So you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. A9.
Ooh, going hard right away for sure. This one is, what is the least favorite thing about yourself? So I kind of asked about, you know, your favorite part of your personality. This one's the opposite. What do you feel like, you know, you kind of struggle with?
I always doubt myself. That's something that I really don't want about myself. When I was applying for college, I'm just gonna share this. When I was applying for college, I really wanted to get either to UP or UST, but right, I'm studying in DLSU, so it was really a hard time for me because I'm not. I believe I'm a good. I'm a good daughter. I'm a good student. I mean, I'm not that great. I don't. I just become the top one, but I believe I'm a good one. So, and when I was young, when I was like 16, 17, I have this mindset of as long as you put work into it, you're going to get those things. So that's what I did when I was applying in college. It was very hard, and I put a lot of work into it. But then I realized when I didn't get into the schools that I get into, how much, even though you put a lot of work, how much work you put into certain things, if it's not meant for you, it's not going to be for you. And it's kind of hard for me to accept that I was accepted that first year, second year, and now third year. I'm just really preoccupied with a lot of things. But every now and then, I still think of the what ifs if I was able to get into the school that I wanted to go to. And my mom knows that. I always tell her that. But in that type of failure in my life, I was able to doubt things growing up. After my applications in college, I was always telling myself that, oh, maybe I wasn't really that good. I just thought to myself that when I was younger, I was like telling to myself that I was good. That is why I was getting the things that I want to get. But I also believe that I will encounter that point in my life where I am going to fully see that I'm right here and this is what I'm meant to be, and this is how I will grow in the future. To be honest, I'm not really that satisfied with that failure. I thought I will be able to see my growing up, glow up season in college, but still not. I still have a hard time. I really didn't perform the way that I thought I would perform in college. I lost my Dean's Lister status when I was in second year. Those are like the ones who are top. But I think the one that really imbibed in me is that I get to know how I will act in the future. I can't wait to start a new chapter in my life, to be able to go to med school or to be able to graduate college. I also want to pursue social media and do good about it. Apply the things that I wasn't able to know about myself, and then apply those things so that I'll be able to be a better person. So yeah, I always doubt myself. That's the least favorite thing because I can't progress with it. There are always a lot of barriers going to my path, but that's something that I'm fighting right now.
For sure. The one I think you said that sometimes, like, or I don't know if you do it all the time, but you know, the doubt of, you know, being a good child, right? Being a good daughter. One thing I want to address about that, and for everybody else out there, because I feel like that's a normal thing. Like everybody kind of feels like, you know, am I good enough, or am I doing enough for my parents? And you know, what am I bringing into their lives, right? At least that's something I struggled with a lot. You know, when my sister also passed away, right? And yeah, it was always like I always had this comparison. Like I wonder if it would be better if she was around instead of me. That was something I kind of grew up with thinking, and I was I didn't realize till a lot later that, you know, when you see a baby, you can't help but smile, right? Like you can't help but just like, oh man, like there's some certain joy for that baby that they give out, but the baby's not doing anything. They're just existing. They're just there. And I have to, like, I want to remind people that that's how it is sometimes, even with adults. You know, like we don't have to be doing anything, especially for our parents. Like they will always find joy in us, you know, regardless of what we do, because we just exist, because we're their baby. So yeah, so in that sense, that's what the point I want to get across about that. And yeah, doubting yourself, I hope you don't spend too much time doing that, because I feel like that's the biggest thing, is that it's okay to doubt yourself, because it kind of like gives you that chance to to exceed your expectations. You know, it gives you those moments to be proud of yourself, right? When you doubt yourself, it's all about, you know, just how much time you spend doing that. I think it's healthy to do it. Yeah, just don't spend too much time doubting yourself. Yeah. So go ahead and throw me another number.
All right. B33.
B33. This one is, what are you wrong about? You know how sometimes we think a certain thing about a issue or a stance, but then later on you kind of find out like, oh, I was wrong. Have you ever had that kind of moment?
I don't think I ever had that kind of moment. Maybe in exams, I always think that I'm right, but when the paper comes, it's wrong. But yeah, let me have a minute to think about it.
Yeah, take your time. There's gonna be music, but let me know if you want to pass too. It's fine.
I would pass that. I can't think.
No worries.
Of something that but I was always thinking about the mistakes I get on quizzes and exams. It's a lot. I always think it's correct, but yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I got you. Would you say, are you good at multiple choice questions? You know, it's like A, B, C.
Well, in our school, it's always multiple choice, but with a twist. I think they call it. I forgot what they call it, but but the layout is that, for example, what color is the sun, and then there's going to be statement 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's going to be yellow, blue, orange, pink, and then the choices is different. So there's A, statements 1 and 2 are true. B, all statements are false. For example, letter C, the answer cannot be found in the choices. There are a lot of things like that. So those are the things that really pisses me off, because for example, I really know the answer to the question, but the way I interpret the choices are wrong. So yeah, I thought I'm correct, but when the paper comes, I'm wrong.
Yo, I am terrible.
It's very hard.
Yeah. Same here. I am terrible at multiple choice. I tend to overthink it. You know, I didn't start seeing that way at questions until I got older. I guess maybe in college, you know. But yeah, for me, multiple choice, I overthink it. You know, it's like, well, that could be right. This could be right too, though. So I'm not like entirely sure anytime I choose an answer. And I always just end up going back to like deductive reasoning. So I try to find out which one isn't like the others, and then that's the one I choose. But yeah, that takes a lot more time. But yeah, multiple choice is not my thing. I'm better at writing essays, you know, like essay questions, like write a paragraph about, you know, the process or something. Then I could do that better than like the multiple choice side.
Yeah, I like essays more. I think it's so easy for me to get a perfect score on an essay compared to a multiple choice or even an identification type of exam.
I feel you. For sure. Well, another curveball, this is gonna be a fill in the blank question, and you choose a number between 1 and 7. Go for it.
1.
Okay. This one, I think it's kind of crazy for the Philippines right now, but fill in the blank. Politics are blank.
Politics in the Philippines, this is the context of the Philippines, are a mess.
A mess.
Politics in the Philippines are a mess.
I got you. Are you comfortable speaking on why you feel that way, or?
Yes, it's okay for me, because I know that when you're not siding, or when you're not choosing side, you usually tend to be on the side of the oppressor. That's why as I grow up, I tend to see both situations and then I pick a side, because if I don't pick a side, I believe that the oppressor always wins. So that's not something that I wanted to happen. So what's happening in the Philippines is very strange. There's a lot of things going on that's not really that humanitarian, and what bothers me is that I live in this society where a lot of opportunities are not being able to given to people, to children. I believe honestly speaking, I do know that I'm already privileged in the situation of the Philippines, but I can still see that I can still do more. I mean, if I am in a better place, I think I'll be able to grow more. Right now, I know it's not good to be jealous, but I'm jealous of countries who doesn't wear masks anymore. I mean, imagine the kind of government, the kind of system that they have. It's really hard, especially right now that my course is medical technology. We learned everything online, and I didn't really learn it 100%. I would give if I'm going to rate the understanding that I have with the lessons and topics, it's just a good solid 2 to 3 because we are guessing. I mean, laboratory work on the computer is not really something that I could grasp on. And sometimes I was questioning myself, am I going to be a good medical practitioner? Because I wasn't really understanding a lot of things. When you go to the hospital, because I'm third year, we're really studying the major things. When you go to the hospital and the doctor says that, do a CBC, a complete blood count, or a urinalysis. We studied that online, and it's very hard. I really wanted to be able to learn that hands-on practically, not just for myself, but for my future patients as well. And then to be able to see other countries who are already doing their face-to-face classes, who are not wearing masks, it's really kind of like, I want to be there. I want to do that as well. That's why with those kind of situations, with those kind of realizations, I was able to become more knowledgeable or more vocal about the situation, especially here in the Philippines. There are a lot of issues left and right. I can't even pinpoint one single issue, and this is what's causing it. All those little things happening. The COVID response is not that great. Cases are fluctuating. There's not really good system to be able to combat COVID-19. I remember start of January, we were still allowing travelers from China to go to the Philippines. So I think those are one of the major things. The borders or the airport wasn't closed for travelers from China. So I think those are one of the major things that was able to spread the virus. And there are a lot of poor people in the Philippines especially in Manila. Manila is a good place, but there are also people who are living in the slums. If you know Miss Universe 2018, Catriona Gray said that she worked a lot in the slums of Tondo, Manila, and really the life there is very poor. So that's why I don't think they are able to cope up with the situation right now. And my heart really aches for them, aches for the people who lost their jobs, because I don't know how I'm going to be if I was the one in their position, especially because those are like basic human things that you need to survive. You need food. We know a lot of people who lost their loved ones, and we know a lot of people who can't eat because they don't have the money, because they were released from their job. So there are a lot of things. I can't really point out to one specific list, because it's easy when you're in the Philippines. Oh, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. But to be able to sum it all up into one sentence that something's wrong about the Philippines and this is it, I cannot do that.
No, I got
it's
you.
More on the system.
The system. So one thing I've been trying to learn about is the pre-colonial history of the Philippines, right? And how afterwards, I always think that the Philippines right now, look, I know I am privileged to be out here in the States, and I know that my perception of what's going on there isn't the real thing, because all I really got is like, hearing it from other people, seeing it on TV. So I don't know how the people really feel and what you guys are going through over there. But do you guys feel like the Philippines may be like, like, I know over here they kind of say it's like the little brother of the United States, right? Like there's a lot of things that they're trying to kind of not copy but emulate, or like the influence of the states on America, on the Philippines. Is there that? Like I want to first understand if that's a assumption, that's a correct assumption. But yeah.
Well, I think mostly because the Philippines is also an English-speaking country, and we were really colonized by the Americans. So, American food here is very big. But I think the Filipinos also has their own identity of how they are as individuals. The cultures are still here. How families, those family ties are still here. Maybe because I have never been to America, that's why. My sister has been to the US, but me hopefully soon. But yeah, I mean, I'm very aware also with what's happening in the media. I still think that there are a lot of things in common, and there are also a lot of things that are very uncommon between the Philippines and the US, on my opinion.
Okay, I got you. And as far as politics go, are there two parties like there are in the States? Like here, this Republican and Democrat. But is there a party system in the Philippines, or not really?
Yes, I believe whenever there's elections, there are a lot of party systems, but not really between Republican and Democratic. Usually candidates tend to formulate their own parties. That's why sometimes there are a lot of presidential candidates, not like in the US, just Republican and Democratic. Yeah, and it's very near election season here in the Philippines. So we've already registered. I really want to take part in making a change in this country and this society. That's why I will vote in 2022.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I will definitely pick your brain about that. Just who you think is the right candidate and why. Because here in America we don't have that. We only have this two-party system, which as I got older, and I think more and more people are realizing it, is that that's not the best way to do it. If you only have, we look at it at two teams. You have two teams, and those two teams get to choose the person to lead, and then they make it seem like to us, this is your choice. You want to go team A, team B. It's like, what if I don't like either of them? What am I gonna do? But the system here really has forced us into saying like, well, if you're not gonna choose, then the other person's gonna win. So there's a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of you identify yourself as Republican or Democrat, and it's like, I'm not either of those, I'm not, like, I can see both sides and I can understand both sides. So I do like how, at least in the Philippines, it sounds like there is choice, and someone could kind of run without feeling like, oh, I need to be on a certain team. So that's cool. I didn't know about that. I appreciate you telling me. Just a heads
we'll
up.
call that learnings with Leila.
Learnings with Leila. Okay. We could do that. If you're interested, I definitely have. I'll write down all the questions I have about the Philippines,
Okay.
and then I'll get your perspective on it. So, just a heads up, we have about 10-15 minutes left in the podcast. I think it's gone by pretty fast. I hope you're having fun. It's been a blast for me, so thank you again for coming on. Go ahead and throw me another number.
From 1 to 7?
Oh no, back to
okay.
A da-da-da.
Okay, I'll pick C14.
C14. Okay. Do you believe in aliens?
I believe that there might be a possibility of life beyond the universe that we're living, but aliens, I'm not that sure. So if we're going to call them aliens, okay, then I believe in aliens. But I don't think I don't think they will be aliens. Maybe some kind of humans, maybe. But yeah, I believe that there might be a lot life beyond our universe because it's a scientific fact. There are a lot of studies about it. So I believe that.
Like when you say life, so you're saying like, you know how for us we kind of believe aliens look different and they kind of like, you know, are a different color, and they live their life differently. Because when I think of life on other planets right now, at least, you know, they tell us it's like, oh, you know, there's bacteria on another planet, and you know, after so many years it can evolve into something, but for now it's just like these little particles and stuff. So do you think we're gonna find aliens first, or aliens are gonna find us?
Well, I'm very positive about the advances of the human race, so I want the humans to find them first, and for us to be able to study and know more about them. We might be able to travel to another universe if ever, which is kind
Yeah.
of exciting. But that's something I hope to see in my lifetime. So
Yeah, I mean, it's something I wish I'd be able to see, but I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of things we still got to figure out on Earth before we decide to like leave, you know. Well, you know, like climate change. I don't know
yes.
how you feel about that. So what? Since we brought that up, what's one of the biggest issues as far as like taking care of the environment in the Philippines? Because I don't know. I want to understand.
Well, because the Philippines is an island, usually a lot of beaches. There are a lot of good beaches in the Philippines, and one of the issues here is that there are a lot of certain travel vloggers, both local and foreign, that they showcase the beauty of the island, but they don't showcase the trash that there is in the island. Last year, Boracay, I think last year or last year, Boracay was shut down so that it will be cleaned, and because it was that dirty, it's really going to hurt the island. And I've been following a lot of like local influencers in TikTok and Instagram about the changes that they want to do with the types of trashes. And one thing that I learned from them is that it's good to start on our own little way, but it's not enough. What we need to do is that we call for accountability and we call for action to the big companies or the big corporations who are causing or producing the use of single-use plastics. You know, the sachets, those are really the biggest impact, because all we're gonna do is to consume it, and it's very easy, especially, and not because that we can blame the people, oh, because you're consuming single-use plastic products. No, if those companies don't produce such plastics, and then the people won't be able to consume, especially here in the Philippines, a lot of people could not buy items in bulk. Sometimes they can only buy what they can with their own money, and those are those single-use plastics of shampoos, conditioners, and a lot of stuff, food even.
Yeah. I mean, single-use plastics. Damn, I'm always guilty of looking around and seeing that I have a lot of those things, and I continue to buy those things. It makes me feel guilty, you know, like I don't.
But it's not our fault. But we should start really demanding accountability for those big corporations. That's why whenever there are petitions, I try to read about them and then try to put on my email. There are a lot of online petitions right now, which is very good about the advancements of society and technology. That's why we're able to access a lot of information and a lot of knowledge for us to use.
Knowledge is power, right? Knowledge is power. All right. Well, we made it to the concluding portion of the podcast. I just have a few more questions for you. And before we do that, though, another curveball is a shout out question. So, you know, you're going to have to say either someone's name or a group of people. But choose a number again between 1 and 7.
7.
Okay. Who is a stranger or passerby in your life that left the best impression? So maybe you don't know this person at all anymore, but there was like somebody that did something nice in your life, or something memorable, like a stranger, and you know now you don't know them anymore, but it just happened real quick. Do you have a story like that?
Yes, I have. Good thing I was able to remember it. When I was in junior high, I was in the pilot section at that time, and in that pilot section there are a lot of good students. I think I was we were 30, and I think I was ranked 18 or 19, so I was kind of the lower end. And then when we are doing exams, that this one professor, he's from UP, he's a graduate of economics, and then he has this essay type of exam. And then when he was giving out papers, he told us that there was someone who got a really, really good essay. And then at first, because I was in that section, I wasn't really hopeful that I'm that person, because I'm already in a good section. It's already a privilege to be a part of that section, to be able to learn from these people and to be able to see how they interact with their lives every day, how they study. It's already good for me. But before spoiler alert, it was me. But before the teacher told it that I was the person, he kind of built up the momentum that he was checking, and then he was very tired. But when he read the person's article, he was like, whoa, he really stood up on his table. That's what he said, exact words. And then and then a lot of us are like waiting, like, who's that person? And they were really looking at the top one, maybe she's that person, because she's great and she's the editor-in-chief of our school paper. But when he said it was Leila, I was like, whoa. I was like, okay. I was very thankful. And then he told me that he really liked my article and that I should do more. But eventually he really liked the things that I wrote. Whenever he's giving out exams, I always get a perfect score now, because he really liked the way that I was able to deliver. And it was economics. His subject was economics. I didn't know. I just wrote it with the things that I can remember from that subject. Well, we're not that close right now, but every so often when I feel like I feel like I'm down or I'm not that feeling great, I remember that certain type of situation in my life, that someone believed in me, in a sea of good people, in a sea of great people, where I can't really see myself excelling, and he saw my paper as someone who has great potential. It's very good. So that's something that makes me smile ever so often when I'm feeling down.
Awesome. That's a great story. Thank you for sharing. And remember, you'll always have people who believe in you, you know?
Yeah.
And all right. Well, concluding questions. This next question is going to be from my previous guest, which is POP. Shout out to him. What his question is, what have you done for somebody else nice? Like, what are some nice things you do for other people, would you say?
I'd like to say that I'm a very good person. I do a lot of things nice for a lot of people, but I consider things nice when those people don't know it. When those people don't know that, oh, Leila's doing this for me. But when they're at their backs, and then I'm just going to do this because I know she's having a hard time, I might give them this, I might give them like a candy bar or something. That's something that I believe I'm doing something for that person. Not just because she can see it or he or she can see it, but, oh, Leila's doing this for me, I should be thankful, I should repay her. No, that's good. I think maybe that's something that really boosts ourselves. But what's really nice is that when people don't know that you're doing something good for them. Like, I have this friend right now, she's a very smart person and she's very good, but recently her grandma was rushed to the hospital, and then I was really asked, and then we're in the busy state because we are about to go to internship, do finals next week, and she was kind of missing in action in a lot of classes. That's why I was telling her that, hey sis, I call her sis, we have a quiz right now, sis. And then when our group works, there are some times that she misses some points in our report. I just fill that out but I don't tell her anymore because I know she's that smart. But I know that she's been through a very hard time right now. I can see it through all of her social media that she's asking for blood for her grandma. And I believe this small act that I've done is really going to benefit her and maybe myself, but the only thing that I'm benefiting from it is that I'm feeling good about it, and that I did not let her like academic standing or her reports to be that bad because I just saw it and I didn't do something about it. So yeah, that's something I think I did.
Right.
Did something good.
No, that is nice. That is nice. And then the next question is, what would you like to ask the next person coming onto the show?
Oh. I'm going to think.
Yeah,
I want a hard question.
Go for it. Think about it.
Because I've been always answering hard. I mean, I didn't look up your questions, Kuya Jamal, because in school we are really used to performing oral revalida, is that we're going to pick a number but it's about the topic, and then they're going to ask us like 1 minute what's the answer. If you don't get it, your score is 50 over 100. If your answer is meh, you have 70, but if you got it, your score is 100. So my score might be only 175 and 50, and I have 3 oral revalidas next week. So I think I'm kind of practiced right now.
Yeah, you did. You definitely practiced right now. I didn't know that was
about the topic, so
yeah.
It's not about myself. It's about the topic, so I don't know. But my question would be, what is the person going to ask the next Miss Universe? Because I'm a very big fan of Miss Universe, and what is he or she going to ask to the next Miss Universe?
Okay, what is?
Well, so the Miss Universe pageant will be in Florida in May 16, May 17 in the Philippines. So yeah, it's going to be very near.
A couple weeks from now. I got you.
Yeah.
So your question is, what would they want to ask the Miss Universe?
Yes, okay. The next Miss Universe.
Okay. I gotta type this out. All right. And then my final question, the question that kind of wraps everything up together, is what would you like your descendants to know about you? So 500 years from now, generations down the road, what would you like your great grandchildren or great nieces and nephews want to know about you?
Well, of course, I want them to know that I'm a woman of substance, and that I'm very strong and very confident with the principles and values that I believe in. But I want them to know also that I'm very much open to understanding and learning and hearing stories from other people. I want them to know that I did a very good thing in my lifetime. That's something that I want to check off my list, and I want the deeds that I'll be doing to impact future generations as well. Because if what I'm about to do is just for myself, then it's not really going to be good. I mean, it's only good for myself, for my image, but not really that impactful, just the way that I want it to be. So that's how I want my descendants to remember me. And I want my descendants to remember me as a very pretty girl.
I got you. I think they'll definitely know it by watching this video.
Yes.
So, for sure. Well, we made it to the end. Thank you again for coming on. Thank you to all the listeners and viewers for tuning in and getting to know you, getting to know us better. I've definitely learned a lot. I think, yeah, we definitely have a lot more in common than I thought. And I'm glad that we were able to have this opportunity. I feel like I got to know you a lot better, and hopefully you feel the same way about me. And for sure, I do want to say I'm sorry that I haven't been a bigger part of your life, but hopefully this is the start of changing that. So thank you. Any last questions before we sign off, or anything you want to add?
Nothing much, but I just want to say that I'm really rooting for you this good job. If ever you need to have me again as your guest, or if ever I have a friend who went viral and you want her to be your guest, I'm going to do that. I have quite a lot of, not really a lot, but I have friends who are very trustworthy. yeah, so I'm really supporting you in this way. I hope that you're going to be able to be successful in this, and I'll be rooting for you.
Thank you. And yes, learnings with Leila, we will do that. We will. I'll let you know. We'll check in, and I'll have some questions ready for you. And also, yeah, if you have anybody out there who would want to do this as well, this is something I'm on a mission to interview everyone in the world. So, you know, that starts with the Philippines.
Let's do that.
Yeah,
let's do that.
Especially if you have someone who could speak Tagalog or, you know, Ilocano or any dialect out there in the Philippines. Okay. Because, you know, I can't do it yet, but, you know, I want to be able to have everybody in the world, right? So different languages is definitely important to me. So yeah, let's make that happen. Still trying to figure out the best way to end these podcasts, but